a lot of people say, oh, you guys don't do traditional marketing. You have an unconventional approach, which it's true. We're against the ways that traditional marketing is used, and we're against corporate marketing. It's just untrustworthy, right?
Hey Greg, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It's a busy period. I'm pretty sure that it is for you as well. A liquid that it seems that you guys are always coming out with something new, and there is never a dull moment. So we're going definitely gonna get into that and what does it mean to running things as a VP of marketing and liquid death. But I would like to know a bit more about yourself. And usually what we do it is we use this thing called map. That's basically just like a three different sections about yourself and your career and your personal life. There is the mission. So what do you aim to achieve? The achievements, anything that you're really proud of, could be into your career or your personal life. And the last one is the purpose. So why do you do what you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll start with the mission. I mean, at Liquid Death anyway, we're on a mission, to make people laugh, and hopefully in doing so, it helps them make a healthier choice, a more sustainable choice with what they're drinking. Personally, I've always aimed, my mission's always been to bring creativity and humor and sort of my fresh outsider's perspective to more traditionally boring or stuffy categories of products that haven't really been able to that haven't used creativity to kind of to blossom. I think, for me, one of the biggest milestones in my life was when I made the move from New York to Los Angeles a bit over a decade ago. It's sparked me, after being working in the music industry in New York. It sparked me to get involved in these startup consumer product companies. And then personally, got married in 2022. That was a huge milestone in my life. And raising our puppy as well has been been a challenge and a real achievement. As far as like the purpose and why I do what I do, growing up, I competed at a high level in snowboarding. This was really like my entire life's focus, throughout middle school and high school, was snowboarding. It was training, traveling, competing every week. And, I would even live away from home for 6 months or more out of the year, away from my parents, and really trying to, develop a career based on my passion for snowboarding. And I think throughout those years, seeing how, bigger corporate brands that weren't endemic to snowboarding, how they came in to try and appeal to us kids, and try to be cool for us. It was always so cheesy. It was so lame. And I remember just having such strong feelings against marketing and advertising, which is so funny because my dad, he was a marketing executive in New York, working at ad agencies. So my purpose, has been to try to help bring this like more outsider's perspective on marketing to this industry.
Amazing. No, thank you for that, and congrats on everything that you built, and also and getting married, and now also the new puppy. It's definitely a new a new chapter, and sometimes a new challenge. I also have a puppy, and sometimes can be it's amazing. Can be especially maybe in LA it's a bit different. Puppy in New York these days can be a bit challenging, but
Oh yeah, I bet.
apart from it, so let's go into like what you said about the corporate marketing, and then what like does it mean to do something completely different. And especially I'm interested to know you were like a key player, right, in building basically the brand. And I guess at the beginning, especially without a large budgets compared to maybe the big companies out there already doing that, or without using traditional marketing, right? So let's go a bit more in detail there. What steps did you take, right, to grow Liquid Death on a marketing perspective? When you said, I'm not a big fan of the typical marketing, so I had to do something different. Like, what was that for you, the approach on a day-to-day type of operations there?
I think it goes back to part of my purpose growing up snowboarding. It was a shared experience among the founder of Liquid Death, Mike, as well. He grew up in the world of action sports and punk rock music, and also had that sort of outsider's perspective. And I think through all of that, it's helped grow this belief that we feel like most people actually hate marketing, right? So that was step one. Like we have this belief most people actually hate marketing, and so then we fully work off that belief with everything that we did. everything that we put out, all of the work that we put out is in some way making fun of marketing. And you see that even with the product itself, right? Like the product itself is kind of poking fun at the industry of branding, right? Like a healthy beverage, a water brand should never be in a, tall boy can that looks like a beer and called Liquid Death, right? So when the product itself is actually poking fun at the industry and poking fun at marketing, the goal for us is to put out truly hilarious, entertaining content. The ability to use creativity and humor to drive, earned media and shareability. That's really like where our marketing strategy was built around.
So I'm also curious to know, like, how does when you started going with these very different type of content out, and early on, how also did you use social listening? Because you said I want to do the best content, the best entertaining content out there that people can see. So I'm interested also. Were you like reading comments? Were you understanding the feedback from the people? Like, how did you use social listening as a brand to either go to the next level or use it somehow for your own marketing/entertainment?
Liquid Death started as a test, right? It started as a test in that way. And I think we still use that same thinking with everything that we do, where instead of making an ad that takes months and months of research and insights to release, and then you hope that ad then sustains your brand for the next 3 to 6 months, we are taking a much faster approach where it's test and learn. Let's post something that we feel make the community laugh, that they're going to engage and want to share it with their friends. And if we see, early success with that, okay, how can we lean into that theme a little bit bigger? And I think for us, like social listening plays a huge role in how we make decisions based off that, right? We have actually a really great case study for how social listening led to one of those big moments for the brand. I'm not sure if you've heard of Greatest Hates, but we actually made 3 real albums from actual internet hate comments that we were receiving of people who just didn't understand the brand. And it would be a huge bet to just dive right into making an album. There's a lot of work that goes into it, finding the artist, producing the album, printing the vinyl. We made vinyl records with this, uploading it all to the different streaming services. There's a ton of work and a ton of effort and a ton of time that goes into making an album. So before we ever got to that idea, we started by just finding one of those hate comments that we thought was really funny, posting it, just a screenshot of it on our Instagram. From there, it blew up.
I think it's a very it's a pretty smart, I would say, way to react, right? Because many times brands might be, getting the, try to counteract in the wrong way, and then the hateful comments get bigger and more and everything. So I think that playing like that, still being entertaining, also in something that usually is not nice to read, right, about your own brand. I think it's a pretty cool move, and many brands can learn from that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you also, in addition to, of course, content and creativity, something very important on social media these days, even more, between the creator economy, influencer marketing, and so on, it is also through track, right, the efficiency of basically your marketing dollar spend, right? So I'm curious, what are the metrics that matters for you the most? Are there any metrics that you usually look at? How do you track the efficiency again of all the activities that you do on social media, and not only there, maybe even other avenues, could be online, offline?
CPM is a really strong metric for us, not just of one channel, but blended across our entire marketing efforts. That really measures the effectiveness of the marketing dollars going in. That helps us to hit our goals, and then and really be able to compete with the other brands in the beverage world that have marketing budgets that are far bigger than ours, right? I'm not going to want to compete with them on how much we can spend to reach an eyeball. Instead, if we can reach those same eyeballs for far less money through creativity. I talked a lot about shareability. Shares is our most important metric that we use on all of our content. Shares are the most active engagement that you can take on a piece of content, and so we weight that way more than we do something like a passive like, for example. When you believe that earned media is the key to success, then the best content for us is actually going to be the content that has the highest share counts. And so we use a blended metric there for that really prioritizes shares on all the stuff that we put out.
Is your brand ready to amplify its reach? Well, the Influencer Marketing Factory is here for you. We are a global influencer marketing agency helping brands ignite their growth. From influencer identification to campaign strategy, handling legalities and agreements, to managing shipping and logistics, we got you all covered. We work with hundreds of brands across different verticals, from Fortune 500 companies to direct-to-consumer brands. And we don't just stop there. With detailed ROI analysis, we help brands like yours measure success, transforming impressions into conversions. You can find us at theinfluencermarketingfactory.com or just searching the Influencer Marketing Factory on Google. Tell me a bit more about your either favorite collaboration or any collaborations that you're working on that you really liked, and why do you think they were so successful to getting, again, the share button clicked so many times?
We like to think about these collaborations similar to in a way that is a bit similar to how SNL thinks about their parody commercials. We have built this world of comedy with Liquid Death, right? Where we're kind of in our own universe. We have this really nuanced sense of humor, and we're behaving in a way that really no other brand has ever behaved. And so when we work with collaborators, whether that's talent, celebrities, or other brands, how we like to think about it is like, let's bring your brand, your personality, what you're known for the most, and let's bring it into the Liquid Death's world of humor, right? And you don't need to be a funny in your own right. You can be a celebrity that has never done comedy before. You can be a brand that doesn't typically do humor, and then come in and do something with us that takes you outside of your comfort zone. We made an enema kit with Travis Barker last year. We collaborated with Martha Stewart on a candle with a severed hand, and just most recently we worked with Elf Cosmetics to create the first ever mainstream corpse paint black metal makeup kit. Each of these things on their own, if we were as Liquid Death to just put out a severed hand candle or to just put out an enema kit, it wouldn't make sense, right? But we're able to tap into things that these companies or these partners, what they're known for, whether it's makeup, home goods, or an album. In the case of Travis Barker with his Blink-182 album, we're able to lean into those things and then bring them into the world of Liquid Death in a way that has never really been done before in the world of brand collaborations. And as far as shareability goes, I think for us, what we find is that just making a parody commercial isn't necessarily enough for us. I think what we do that leads to the share and leads to the virality is we create a parody commercial for a product that should never exist, but then we actually make that product real, and then you can actually go and buy that product. And the fact that we take it there to the finish line is what kind of separates it from just other parodies or other fake advertising that exists in the world.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool, when you say that you actually made the product, because especially the past April Fools this year, I saw many brands going out there and be like, hey, this is a new product that we did, and of course it was just a joke because of April Fools. But I think that what if some of them actually created those products, so actually saying these and being like, look at that, did this parody thing with another brand, but actually the product is there that you can buy. I think that is quite genius, because it goes just beyond just the idea and the concept of it. It's actually something that you can physically touch and go and buy. And so you said these about these are collaborations between either celebrities or other brands, right? What about instead when it comes to creators and influencers? Do you use them in your marketing strategy? If so, how do you use them? Like again, you usually are very non-traditional with everything, so I'm curious to hear more about when it comes to the creators and influencers involved.
Even when we do a creator collab for Liquid Death, like we want that content to also have the potential to win the internet that day, right? We should be thinking about anything that we post should have that same goal. So yeah, we put a lot of time and effort into coming up with these concepts on how we can work with creators to flip their own style of content on its head. We worked with Mark Rebier a few years back. We didn't just have Mark make a song about Liquid Death. That's what maybe another brand would do. And that fits within his content. We had to make a song, and then halfway through the video, the song cuts out. He gets a knock on his door, and our murder man mascot, who's known for murdering thirst, actually murders Marc Revier and then takes over, right? And it was, wildly successful. And although it's very clearly an ad, like I think Mark's title for the video that he posted was "This is an advertisement" in all caps. Like despite all of that, because it didn't look or feel like any other ad that had existed, it really worked, and it was able to connect with his audience and bring people into the liquid death world. So I think when it comes to creators, we select them by a lot of different means. Like maybe they are really great at making comedic content, and we feel like we can collaborate with them on a joke, or maybe they are not necessarily a traditionally funny creator, but we do something that takes their content style and twists it in a way that it becomes a really hilarious and shareable piece of content. We really try to distance ourselves from, what traditional influencer marketing has sometimes looked like, which is, product placement or really leaning too much into like the product attributes or something along those lines. And instead, like, no, like how do we treat every one of these things as if it's the biggest campaign that we've ever done? And how do we like really create like bespoke comedy content with an influencer, right? That's always the goal.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? To be in line with everything else that you do. So I like that approach, and yeah, anytime that I see something from Liquid that I know that it's gonna be, an interesting one to see. So we covered the basic like earned media. We covered the shareability. Why is it important to go in a non-traditional way? We covered the collaborations that you might not expect. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to share with us today? Something else that we didn't touch on, or something that you're maybe super excited happening, either in the industry or in the company that you would like just to, touch base on?
A lot of people say, "Oh, you guys don't do traditional marketing. You have an unconventional approach," which it's true. We do have an unconventional approach. We distrust corporate marketing. We want to poke fun at marketing at every turn. But I think there, as we grow, and we have done some traditional marketing in some media buys or partnerships that we've done. And I think for us, like there's going to always be ways to infuse creativity and this outsider's perspective, even when doing quote unquote traditional marketing, right? So maybe that's taking a piece of video content that feels like a parody commercial, right? That we use on social, but then putting it into a traditional, media buy. Maybe it's on TV or it shows up during the commercial breaks on while you're streaming your favorite TV show, and it's sure it's a traditional placement, but we're using a traditional placement to make somebody laugh and to infuse humor and comedy into a place that typically doesn't exist, right? So I think for us, like I wouldn't necessarily say that we're against like traditional marketing 100% of the time. I think we're against the ways that traditional marketing is used, and we're against corporate marketing because it's just untrustworthy, right?
Fantastic. I'm very curious to see what is next. I will continue following, and quite curious and excited by new collaborations and new things, because again, all the time you're able to either shock or give something, right? People have so much fatigue these days on social media that they need a kick of something that is different, that is something that is new. So very curious to see what is going to happen. But Greg, thank you so much for joining me today, sharing everything. Again, congratulations on everything that you built with your team. It's been, I'm pretty sure, quite a ride and a journey so far. So sending good vibes for what is next.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was great chatting with you today, and keep an eye out. We got a lot more to come.
Fantastic. Will do. Thank you so much, Greg. This was the Influence Factor by the Influencer Marketing Factory, and I'll see you next week.